Hey guys, it's Helen Hartsmith again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel, and I'm here today to talk about my response for week 8 for the 2016 YouTube Pagan Challenge. This week's question deals with matron / patron, or if you just kind of lump it together. I don't really use matron. I guess I say patron god or patron goddess when referring to the deities that I work with. So the question reads, how did you find a matron / patron? And I do have a patron god and patron goddess. I've talked about them in various blog postings before and in different videos before. I know that was one of the questions in the 77 community witchy tag. I think that's how it read, that my podcast co-host Kathy and I know we talked about that in one of those questions, and I'll go ahead and link the playlist for that 77 tag if you're interested in that below, and I'll tag I hear things sliding. I'll also tag any blog posts about my patron god and my patron goddess. So I guess I'll talk about my patron goddess first, simply because I've worked with her the longest. And if you've been on my channel or read my blog with any consistency, you probably know who my patron goddess is. And I'm kind of geeked. I'll kind of touch on this a little bit, I think, as we talk about this. Let's just talk about this. Sorry. I went ahead and pulled out pictorial references of both my patron god and patron goddess. So this is Bridget from the Celtic pantheon. She is she's a multi-dimensional goddess. She's a goddess of fire, as you can see her holding that here. She is also a healing goddess. She is a blacksmithing goddess. She has warrior aspects. She's a member of the Tuatha De Danann. She is the daughter of Thagfa or Dagda, depending on how you pronounce it. This particular representation of Bridget is by an artist by the name of Jessica Galbraith, and I have numerous of Jessica's works. Unfortunately, Jessica no longer does any kind of god and goddess depictions. She has quite an extensive catalog of that work in her past, but she has since switched and she only does angel artwork now, is my understanding. And I haven't even really seen much of her things in the last few years. But like I said, I'm looking around my sacred space here in my bedroom, and I have at least 5 prints by her, as well as some other items. She did a bit wide, different types of merchandise. And so this happens to be a tile, that of course has a ribbon that you can hang it from. And this is, it's just kind of a tile on the back. I also have a figurine of this same depiction. So her artwork is hard to find anymore, but I'm lucky enough that she did this before making the switch, and that I was able to get this tile as well as the figurine. And the figurine I happened to get on vacation at this spot in Mackinac City. I saw it there one year when we were there, and it was towards the end of our vacation, and so fundage was low, and so I couldn't get it. But then we went back the following year, and there was the same statue still sitting there. So of course I snatched it up quickly because I was so sad that I couldn't purchase it before. But Bridget and I, we have worked together for, like I said, many years. She came to me early on in my practice. I think that The reason for that is because I'm an Aries, and so I have that's my fire is my birth sign. So I think that there is a pull there. And there's also the pull of, I feel a strong connection with the Celtic pantheon. I consider myself eclectic and I work with all kinds of gods and goddesses, but there's definitely a pull towards the Celtic pantheon. So, her influence is very strong in my practice. She can be tough when she needs to be, but she can also definitely have a softer side. So I feel very blessed to have her in my corner, and to have had her there for such a long time. So that is my patron goddess. And again, if you've listened to any of my podcasts with Kathy, or I've talked about this numerous places. I worked for many years without a patron god. And about a year ago, when I decided to study the runes intensely, I approached Odin Father, since he is the one who brought the runes to the Norse people. I asked him if he would be willing to work with me, and he not only said yes when helping with the runes, but he also said that he would work with me as my patron god, which really surprised me. So our relationship is new, and I'm still, getting to know him. But I like his sense of humor. My friend Kathy works with a lot of cats, and she's also studied the runes for quite a few years, actually. And he doesn't like her cats. She works with the large cat as an animal spirit, as an animal totem, and he's not down for that. He's got his wolves. It's not that he's not down with it. It's just that he's not big into cats. So anyhow, what I failed to mention with Bridget is that I maintain a shrine or altar for her that is on a shelf that's above my main altar, which, if you'll remember, it's kind of like right back there. So I have a shelf that, if I move my head, see that shelf right there? That shelf is going to be Odin's shelf, and I've been searching for statuary and other representations for him to be able to convert that shelf over to his shrine / altar. And if you I just got back from Convocation yesterday, which Kathy and I have been talking about it a lot. Weekend conference, much like PantheaCon, not as big, but it's in the Detroit area. So we just got back from that yesterday. Wonderful time. But this is one of the purchases that I made while at Convocation. This is a wonderful print. And what's really interesting is that I've looked at this print before and really liked it, but it was before my relationship with Odin Father, and so that's why I'd never purchased it. But now where I am in my path and knowing that I was looking for things, I couldn't say no. There was no reason not to say no. This was actually the first purchase that I made at Convocation, and I love it. So you have Odin with his a patch over his lost eye. You have his wolves, which I should have looked it up before recording this video, but I don't remember their names. But then you also have Hugin and Mugen down here. His crows are also depicted. This is by, oh gosh, I'm trying to read the, Santera is the last name. Sucha Santera? I'm not sure who that is, but this person has had art in the art room at Convocation for about as long as I can remember. Does some really great stuff. Does great deities, so the person, and great animals. There's prints like this. They paint on feathers. Just all kinds of really, really cool stuff. There's even some werewolf art and things of that nature. And a new friend that we met last year at Convocation was in the art room when I was looking at this. And he works with Kernunos, and he actually found a print the same size that was a great depiction of him that he purchased as well. So, yeah, like I said, pretty new to working with Odin still, so still learning him. I give him a lot of respect because of, you know, studying the runes, and I listen to him. He's a father figure, and that's kind of nice, especially given the fact that it's been so long. I've worked with some other deities throughout my practice, like if I'm working on a month-long spell or a longer term spell where I need like a specific influence. Like I've worked with Thor before, and I've worked with Freya before, but Odin Father is the first real, you know, long-term male deity that I've worked with since, you know, becoming a witch. I mean, I grew up in Episcopalian and Methodist churches. I've talked about that before in my history. So of course there was the Christian God and Jesus that I of course connected with at that time. And that was fine. I didn't have any issues with that. But it's nice. I feel kind of complete now having a patron god and a patron goddess. And I don't think that it's weird to have a patron from different pantheons. I think that the Celtic people and the Norse people are relatively close enough geographically that it's not a huge deal. And I work with them at different times for different things. So I'm trying to think if, you know, during meditational journeys, have I come into contact with both of them in the same meditation? And I think if I have, it's only been once. So, you know, there isn't any issues, and yeah, so that's my patron god and my patron goddess. Like I said, I just did get back from Convocation yesterday, so I'm going to be filming an additional video for this week posting, covering the different things that I picked up while at Convocation. So be sure to tune in for that. And Kathy and I also did a bit of vlogging, I guess. We didn't do any recording in classes or anything like that because we didn't want to expose any other people, because, you know, there's people that might be in the closet and stuff. So we did some talking in the morning, and then in the evening, kind of like wrapping things up. So we're going to try to splice all that together, and that's going to be the next podcast. So hopefully that, you know, works out. So look for that in the next, hopefully we'll get a chance to edit that and post it this week. So we'll see what happens. So that's it for now. And I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for walking for a little while with me. Blessed be.